from the radio service of Royal Communications Incorporated. What a pleasant good afternoon. Welcome to King's News Broom, 45 minutes of the most captivating news events from Liberia and other parts of the world. My name is Otis Sankan with this afternoon presentation of the program. Stories topping the news. National Executive Committees of the Opposition Coalition for Democratic Change expelled Deputy Speaker Thomas P. Falla from the party with immediate effect. Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill characterizes executive branch of government for backing the majority bloc of the House of Representatives by the Attorney General Councillor also Twain. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Thomas P. Falla welcomed his expulsion from the party to reaffirm his unwavering commitment to the values and principles that initially inspired him to help establish the CDC. And away from Liberia now, an 11-year-old Sierra girl has been rescued after clinging to an inner tube for 3 days in a stormy weather in the Mediterranean. Those are the headlines. We take a break. When we return, we join our news center for the news bulletin. Thanks for rejoining us. Let's now cross over to the news center where Sam Andrews is seated for the news bulletin. Good afternoon, Sam.
The renegade majority bloc of the House of Representatives, as they call themselves, has again suspended 3 representatives for what they term misconduct. Those suspended are Representative Francois Foucault, Eugene Colley, Zena Norma, and Alex Noah. The majority bloc said they are suspended for gross misconduct, not befitting of them as representatives of the people. They also resolved to strip representatives Francois Foucault, Eugene Colley, and Zena Norman of their benefits for this month and beyond. It brings to 7 the number of lawmakers suspended by the majority bloc. They earlier suspended representatives Marvin Cole, Abu Kamara, and Edward Flomo, all of the Congress for Democratic Change. The majority bloc has written the Speaker Fonati Kofa requesting him to submit a list or names of his staff. They said they want to ensure that his office staff receive their payment for December, which will be processed in his capacity as representative of Grand Crew County and not the Speaker of the House of Representatives, since he is now former Speaker. The National Executive Committee of the Opposition Congress for Democratic Change has expelled Deputy Speaker Thomas Falla from the party with immediate effect. In a statement issued by the party's national chairman, Councillor Janga Ko, the decision to expel the party's longest-serving lawmaker follows recommendations from the party's disciplinary committee, grievance and ethics committee, and underscores the CDC's commitment to discipline, unity, and adherence to its foundational principles. In November, Deputy Speaker Thomas Falla and several lawmakers of the Congress for Democratic Change were temporarily suspended for their involvement in the illegal removal of Speaker J. Fonati Kofa and placed under investigation. Thomas Falla has come under staunch criticism over his key role in the questionable, supposedly removal of Speaker Kofa. He had earlier denied any plot to remove Speaker Kofa and pledged his support to the Speaker and the party. He defected from the main chambers where he had been co-presiding to the majority bloc in the joint chambers. There he presided over their sessions, and they saw the suspension of 3 members of the House of Representatives who are all CDC lawmakers and the questionable supposedly removal of the Speaker. Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill has characterized the Liberian executive branch of government for backing the majority bloc in the House of Representatives by the Justice Minister as a coup against Speaker J. Fonati Kofa. During their session, the Liberian Senate Tuesday, with President Pro Tem Kanga Lawrence, clarifying that the Senate had voted to support the Justice Minister Legal's opinion. According to her, she thought to make it clear that the Liberian Senate voted to uphold the opinion of the Justice Minister by doing business with the majority bloc. Addressing the news conference at the Capitol building, Senator McGill criticized the administration of Joseph Walker for what he termed its failure to adequately manage the House's crisis. He said the executive decision is a coup and the opinion of the Justice Minister has no serious basis. He further noted that the Senate's majority decision does not align with what he believes to be the proper interpretation of the law. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Thomas Fowler, has welcomed his expulsion from the party and reaffirms his unwavering commitment to the values and principles that initially inspired him to help establish CDC. Deputy Speaker Fowler, widely regarded as one of the most astute leaders and pioneers of CDC, expressed no surprise at what he termed as his arbitrary, baseless, and unilateral expulsion, stressing that his action follows a similarly bogus and lawless suspension, which blatantly contravenes the Constitution of the Congress for Democratic Change. According to Deputy Speaker Fowler, despite his requirement of due process, no procedure was followed, nor was any hearing or formal investigation conducted, even in its simplest form, something he termed as a stark contradiction by those who profess to uphold law and order. Liberia's ambassador to the United States, Jeff Duana, has called for the appointment of Dr. John Wulu as the next president of the University of Liberia. Ambassador Duana highlighted Dr. Wulu's exceptional academic and professional credential, underscoring his ability to lead Liberia's premier institution of higher learning into a new era of excellence. Ambassador Duana, a graduate of the University of Liberia alongside Dr. Wulu in 1981, described him as a distinguished gentleman whose contributions to academia, public service, and community development spanned Liberia and the United States. Duana recounted personal encounters with Dr. Wulu's family and personal achievements, emphasizing his role as an educator, researcher, and leader. The Inspector General of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Doug Cooper, has revealed that the Ministry of Commerce has disposed of 40,000 bags of rice deemed unfit for public consumption at Wentown dump site. Speaking at the news conference at his office in Monrovia, Mr. Cooper stated that the ship carrying the rice had completed its offloading process, during which the good rice was separated from the one deemed unfit for public consumption, noting that the rice has been sorted out from the swept rice, ensuring that only credible or eatable rice reaches the public. Inspector Cooper emphasized the ministry's commitment to ensuring food safety and maintaining public trust in the country's staple food. Senator Amara Kone has called on the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Fonati Kofa, to step aside in the interest of Liberia. Senator Kone said unity was the possible way of bringing the crisis at the House of Representatives to an end. He also applauded Speaker Kofa for his service and his regard for the rule of law, describing him as a commendable centrist opposition speaker. According to Amara Kone, at this point, Liberians deserve a speaker who can unite his colleagues beyond a legislative agenda that elevates their needs above divisiveness and personal interest. Senator Amara Kone further indicated that the Supreme Court ruling interpretation by the Justice Minister has provided clarity on the executive branch's position regarding the impasse at the House of Representatives. He added that he had hoped that Senate Pro Tem Kanga Lawrence will have handled the matter as she did with the resolution to establish the War and Economic Crimes Court in the Senate's recognition of the majority bloc. Representative Frank Safoko has filed a complaint against Justice Minister Oswald Twe, with Chief Justice Sanan Yo accusing him of gross misconduct for issuing a legal opinion that contradicts the Supreme Court ruling. On December 6, the Supreme Court ruled on the constitutionality of action taken by the self-imposed majority bloc in the House of Representatives regarding the removal and suspension of certain members. The ruling declared that any action by members of the House that violates Article 33 and 49 of the country's constitution are ultra-vires beyond their constitutional authority. In his opinion on the Supreme Court ruling, Justice Minister Oswald Twe argued that the majority members of the House of Representatives are fulfilling the constitutional requirements necessary to convene sessions and make the decision in accordance with the Constitution and the House's standing rules. He argued that the Justice Minister's opinion undermines the court's ruling, which declared the action of the legislative branch as ultra-vires, stressing that the ruling is binding and must be respected by all branches of government. Representative Francis Afoko contended that the Justice Minister's opinion sent to the executive branch creates confusion and may lead to what he termed unconstitutional action by the state. The CDC lawmaker accused the Justice Minister of prioritizing personal or political interests over his duty to uphold the Constitution, thereby destabilizing constitutional governance and eroding public trust in the judiciary. The former president of the Liberia National Bar Association, Councillor Tiawon Gonglo, has called for the strict adherence of the rule of law amid the political crisis at the legislature. Councillor Gonglo's remarks were made in response to the controversial action by the executive and legislative branches of government centering on the interpretation of the Supreme Court's opinion and the broader implications for Liberia's political and legal future. Councillor Gonglo added that the only institution authorized to interpret the Supreme Court opinion is the Supreme Court itself and not the executive or legislative branches of government. The former NBA president noted that Speaker Kofa believes that the international community upholds the rule of law, a sentiment echoed by him, though with a cautionary note. Representative Musa Bility has criticized the Senate's endorsement of the self-imposed majority bloc, which was based on the opinion of Justice Minister Oswald Twe. Representative Bility argued that the decision represents a clear betrayal of the principle of separation of powers. The Nima County District 7 lawmaker expressed concerns that the Senate's intervention in the ongoing dispute between the two houses of the legislature, while an active court ruling was pending, undermines the integrity of the judiciary and weakens the country's democratic institutions. According to Representative Musa Bility, the Senate's action compromises its own integrity and violates the system of checks and balance that is crucial to Liberia's constitutional order. The Director General of the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, Dr. Dugbeyan, has reaffirmed the entity's surveillance post-health measures amid growing concerns about a suspected case of viral hemorrhage fever virus in neighboring Sierra Leone. Addressing a team of newsmen at Enfield's headquarters in Congo Town, Dr. Yan said the Public Health Institute has established full cooperation with neighboring countries, including Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast, and Guinea, in a wake of strengthening its port health measures and regulations. A 3-day FCWC conference has officially begun in Monrovia with fisheries directors and technicians from member countries of the Fisheries Committees for the West African Gulf of Guinea. The 15 Ministerial Fisheries Conference, which began Wednesday, will close on Friday. It brings together several partners and donors. According to a release issued by NAFA, the conference is aimed at promoting decent work and sustainable practices within the fisheries sector while strengthening the resilience of marine ecosystem. And away from Liberia, an 11-year-old girl has been rescued after clinging to inner tubes for 3 days in stormy weather in the Mediterranean. Rescuers from non-governmental organization Compass Collective said they were on their way to another emergency when they heard her call for help. The unnamed girl from Sierra Leone told them she had set off with another 44 people from South in Tunisia. Their boat had sunk and all other migrants were presumed dead. Thousands of migrants trying to reach Europe die during a treacherous journey in the Mediterranean every year. The International Organization for Migration said over 30,000 migrants have died or remain missing crossing the Mediterranean since it started recording figures 10 years ago.
Simanjus with the news bulletin, a regular feature here on the King's News Broom. Indeed, if you are just joining us, it's a reminder you are in tune to King's News Broom, 45 minutes of news, views, comments, in-depth analysis for Liberia and other parts of the world. Yes, stories we are closely carrying this afternoon. The National Executive Committee of the Opposition Coalition for Democratic Change expels Deputy Speaker Thomas P. Falla from the party with immediate effect. Mankibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill characterizes executive branch of government for backing the majority bloc in the House of Representatives by Attorney General Councillor Oswald Tware. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Thomas P. Falla welcomed his expulsion from the party, reaffirmed his unwavering commitment to the values and principles that initially inspired him to help establish the CDC. And away from Liberia, an 11-year-old Sierra Leonean girl has been rescued after clinching to an inner tube for 3 days in the stormy weather in the Mediterranean. We take another break. When we return, we bring you the voices that make the news. Thanks and welcome back. Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill has characterized the Liberian executive branch of government for backing the majority bloc in the House of Representatives by the Attorney General Oswald Tware as a coup against embattled Speaker J. Fernandes Kofad. It can be recalled during the 51st day sitting of the Liberian Senate on Tuesday. President Pro Tem Yomli Kanga Lawrence clarified that the Senate have voted to support the Attorney General legal opinion. According to her, she thought to make it clear that the Liberian Senate has voted to uphold the opinion of the Attorney General of doing business with the majority bloc. Addressing a news conference at his Capitol building office on Tuesday in Monrovia, Senator McGill criticized the administration of President Joseph Boakai for what he described as a failure to adequately manage the House crisis.
The executive has decided to do what I believe is a coup by illegally removing the speaker. As we speak, the Attorney General just made an opinion which we believe has no serious basis in law, because even the chair of our judicial committee disagreed with the Attorney General opinion. The Supreme Court has ruled to recognize the actions of the absentee lawmakers in the House of Representatives to elect, to remove Speaker Koba and elect Mr. Kun as Speaker, to recognize that value. The Senate resolved in a meeting that it will recognize the decision of the Attorney General and recognize the Speaker's share in the removal of Koba. We want to categorically state that we disagree with the opinion of our colleagues. We think they set a recipe for chaos in this country, that people will now circumvent the law. So why if a group of people get out today and say, don't want Boakai? So if Boakai willing to resign, if a group of people, 10,000 people get in the street tomorrow and say, don't want Boakai, Boakai now use the police force to suppress the people who are lying because people don't want it. Majority get out tomorrow and say, that was not the intent of the framework of the Constitution. But if our colleagues are saying, we don't need to follow the law. We should not follow the law. We just follow policy. When people say they don't want you to move from there, then we need to amend our constitution. So we want to make it clear. And we register the press conference with 12 police that will make it known. This is our disagreement. We want to establish that the decision of the Senate, which will be another Senate decision, but we have a right to disagree with the decision of the Senate. The decision of the majority of our colleagues will be that we recognize, quote unquote, Kun as a new speaker, also represent, we do business with the majority of blacks. So we want the public to know that we fully disagree with. Some of all we are on sanction, on allegation of corruption, on allegation of undermining democracy, and we're watching the American people. They put people on signing here for undermining democracy. They say for undermining democracy. The Americans who took some of the action we are watching to see what we do. We're watching the international community. We're watching the IMF. We're watching the World Bank. What do we deal with an illegal process? We are watching that. We are watching. So we don't want the public to know our position. This is our position. So we want to let the public know that.
He's Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill. At the same time, Sando County Senator Augustine Chie, chair of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights Claims and Petition, also voiced his strong opposition or position to the Senate endorsement of the Attorney General opinion.
Undermining law and order. Law and order. We undermining this country. So it's a sad day. It's a sad day for the rule of law. It's a very sad day for the rule of law for our country to proceed the way we are proceeding. That don't because the president recognizes the people, so we should recognize it, or because the Attorney General have provided an opinion. So yeah, that's the decision of that's the opinion of the Supreme Court. No, wrong. We can do that. Yeah, the Minister of Justice does not advise us. Even the opinion that he provided the president, it's not the opinion of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is different. That is understanding. And I have a contrary opinion on that. Contrary opinion, which I wrote on my Facebook page that everybody, most of you should be aware of. Contrary opinion. As to the correct interpretation of the Supreme Court's opinion. But he did something contrary. 360-degree turnabout. Our police thought that we should follow. And I said, no, we are in the wrong place in history if we did this. Well, the decision they took was that they were with the majority black. Because the issue of the budget and everything was under consideration. And was that so with whom do we work when it comes to the budget discussion? What committee? Because you always say the joint committee, all have a joint committee, a budget joint committee, our ways and means and their ways and means. There's always a joint committee that will do the budget here and what have you. So with whom do we work? Do we work with the majority or the minority? So before, like I said earlier, the decision then was that, okay, let's try to seek a resolution instead of taking a side. Because taking a side will fuel the conflict more. So let's act like the elders that we have been. Not to take a side, but to continue to mediate, negotiate a peaceful settlement, irrespective of who concedes at the end of the day. Whether the majority black that concedes to Popa, whether it's Popa that concedes to majority black, but at least that should be our role, an independent, neutral, unbiased role of the Senate.
He's Sando County Senator Augustine Chie. To this stories now, the former president of the Liberia National Bar Association, Councillor Tiawan Gunglo, has called for the strict adherence to the rule of law amid recent political crisis at the 55th legislature. Gunglo's remarks were made in response to controversial action by the executive and legislative branches centered on the interpretation of the Supreme Court opinion and the broader implication for Liberia's political and legal future. He added that the only institution authorized to interpret the Supreme Court's opinion is the Supreme Court itself and not the executive or legislative branches of government. Councilor.
I think this is the first time that the particular facts of this nature has occurred in Liberian history. I haven't seen anything like that. The Attorney General explaining or interpreting the Supreme Court opinion on the basis of interpretation, the Senate or the House say, okay, the Attorney General has spoken. The only institution of government that is obligated, authorized to say what the law is the Supreme Court of Liberia, is the judiciary, not the executive branch of government, not the Minister of Justice. The two many things lie in the logical realm of probability in dealing with the issues. International community promotes rule of law. The World Bank, the African Development Bank, IMF, all of these institutions. So we'll see what happens. There are too many things, positive, negative, that we have to look out for. I believe this one shows politics over the rule of law, and I believe that rule of law should be over politics for stability, for peace and stability.
Meanwhile, Councillor Gunglo believes that the current situation is being driven more by political motive than a commitment to the rule of law. He warns that if politics continues to overshadow legal principles, Liberia risks descending into this instability, adding that the rule of law must take precedence over politics to ensure peace and stability. Gunglo also expressed concern that the erosion of legal norms and the growing trend of arbitrary decision-making within the government, noting that there is a need to defend the stability of the country by speaking truth to power.
Well, I think the key actors in government are complicating the situation and undermining their own government, especially people from the executive. It's not correct. People should not act based on expediency. The law was made before many of these things happened. So law is not for quick fix, as I usually say. It's not for expediency, It's not for the comfort of anyone. The law is the law, and it's for all time. You didn't say that. You say the majority can meet, and the deputy speaker can preside in the absence of the speaker. I read his speech. He did not recognize the quote-unquote new speaker, the speaker of the majority bloc. What he wrote only talking about the deputy speaker and the speaker. Again, that creates doubt as to whether the executive branch recognizes Kun as speaker or only recognizes the deputy speaker. And if the executive branch only recognizes the deputy speaker, then it means it recognizes the speaker, further creating doubt. They met the constitutional requirement, but nowhere, people are blaming the Supreme Court and saying the Supreme Court did not say the acts were unconstitutional and said ultra-virus, and therefore the Supreme Court not clear. Now, in his piece, it needed to be clear on whether who is the speaker or not. So that one is hanging too because he kept saying the speaker or the deputy speaker.
He's human rights lawyer, Councilor Tiawan Gunglo. The Liberal Council of Churches has called on the minority and the majority bloc House of Representatives to uphold the recent ruling of the Supreme Court urging adherence to the principles of justice and the rule of law. LCC Secretary General Reverend Dr. Christopher Toll said the ruling, which quoted Article 33 and 49 of the Constitution of the Republic of Liberia, is in conformity with the law, and as such, honorable men and women should conduct themselves accordingly. Addressing a press conference Wednesday in Monrovia, Reverend Toll added that in the reconciliatory dialogue meeting organized by the Council of Churches with the minority and the majority bloc at the Providence Baptist Church on Broad Street, the separate parties agreed to conform and adhere to the rule of law and accountability. We hope to bring you that assets in our subsequent news broadcast. The Director General of the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, Dr. Douglas Yan, has reaffirmed the entity's surveillance put health measures amidst growing concern about the suspected case of homogenic fever virus in the neighboring Sierra Leone. Addressing a team of newsmen at Enfield headquarters in Congo Town, Dr. Yan said the Public Health Institute has established full cooperation with neighboring countries, including Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Ivory Coast, in the wake of strengthening its put health measures and regulations.
The viral hemorrhagic fever that was reported as a suspected case in the Republic of Sierra Leone, our neighboring country. I believe most of you may have followed that on different platforms. Some were saying that it was just internet misinformation, but it was not. Here at the Enfield, this leadership have tried to establish good cooperation with the other Enfields in the region. So we cooperate and collaborate with the Ministry of Health / Enfield in Guinea, and then we also cooperate and collaborate with the with the National Public Health Agency in Sierra Leone. Similarly, with Ivory Coast, just in a sub-region. Then outside of here, of course, Mali, Nigeria, Ghana, etc. So when these things happen, we are on the basis of public health transparency and accountability, we inform each other, particularly these three countries, knowing where we came from with Ebola, which is a viral hemorrhagic fever, one of those ones. Then Marburg, another one. So knowing where we came from with Ebola, we are very vigilant. Our surveillance system is very keen, and we test for those regularly. When I say regularly, we test for those regularly.
Meanwhile, the National Public Health Institute boss recounted the negative impacts that Ebola and coronaviruses have on Liberia's society, noting that the measure put in place will prevent any possible outbreak of the deadly homogenic fever virus in the country. He then disclosed a rapid recovery process of patients who were confirmed positive of the monkeypox virus, noting that there has been no new cases since October this year, while lauding the Liberian media for its coordination since the outbreak of the virus this year by the African Center for Disease Control.
We are glad that no misinformation has come from the press since the early day when we had that one incident. That shows how cooperative we've been and how we've been able to learn from each other so fast. We've learned your journalistic tactics while you learn some of our public health medical jargons. So we must really appreciate and congratulate you. When we have a particular outbreak like mpox, and we have all the symptoms that we say will tell you this person seems to have mpox just by looking at them, physical symptoms and inward symptoms, and then we go to what diagnostics, whether through molecular biological means or through serological means, meaning there are different tests we can do to now detect and confirm. So you will have what we call a probable case, meaning that it's possible that this person has mpox.
His infield boss, Dr. Chris Dubedian, addressing the press. Well, on that note, we have come with Mark after this presentation. And there are stories we are closely carrying this afternoon. The National Executive Committees of the Opposition Coalition for Democratic Change expels Deputy Speaker Thomas P. Fallard from the party with immediate effect. Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill criticizes or characterizes the executive branch of government for backing the majority bloc in the House of Representatives by Attorney General Councillor Oswald Twere. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Thomas P. Fallard welcomed his expulsion from the party, reaffirmed his unwavering commitment to the values and principles that initially inspired him to help establish the CDC. And away from Liberia, an 11-year-old Sierra Leonean girl has been rescued after clinging to an inner tube for 3 days in the stormy weather in the Mediterranean. We take another break to bring you more development. Stay tuned, please. Thanks for being there. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Brandon Collins, on Monday led a team of social workers aimed at taking necessary action to remove children from the streets. Speaking to journalists in Monrovia, Madam Collins disclosed that the government is focused and concerned about street children, emphasizing that it is important to remove children from the streets. She added that the ministry has trained social workers who are currently working in communities and on the streets, stressing that workers of the Ministry of Genders have been equipped with effective communication skills to successfully execute their duties.
This and over the few months, we all know that the situation of the next generation being in the street is aligning from this government that the government of Liberia, under the leadership of His Excellency, has made some efforts in that direction to understand why the hiding children on the streets, whatever the road, how many of them. So it's something we have in our possession for roadmap street children or children in the street situation. So that document informs us on the model of situations that claim the attention of our government. And so whatever the success of this initiative, we can also want to make it clear that the social workers who see today doing the community and along the street, we just didn't pick them and brought them here. They were trained. They are given the language and the messages to speak and communicate very well. And I personally express confidence in the ability to do the work that we all have to do. And so this morning, I just want to encourage as we go. I think my understanding is that there are areas, different zones. We have the city divided into different areas. We have 4 zones, and each of these zones have communities to focus on. Some of the communities may not have kids on the streets between the moment. My understanding is we'll go into the communities and begin to bring more awareness.
She's General Minister Gbemi College speaking. The Inspector General of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Doug Cooper, has revealed that the Ministry of Commerce has disposed 4,000 bags of rice deemed unfit for public consumption at the Wayne dump site. Speaking during a press conference at his office in Monrovia, Cooper stated that the ship carrying the rice had completed its offloading process, during which the good rice was separated from the deemed unfit for public consumption, noting that the kid rice has been sorted out for the swept rice, ensuring that only eatable rice reaches the public.
Today, we are glad to have you here and to inform the nation that this morning we'll be disposing of over 4,000 bags of rice that we call unwholesome product at the Wentan. And when there's election and the election is gone, the nation comes back together, everybody comes back together, put their hands together to build a nation. They don't live perpetually in election and campaign. This is the unfortunate thing that's happening in our country. Everything in our country today. This price we're talking about here is the background of what we are about to talk about. When ship comes at the port, particularly with rice, and the ship dock at the port, the port authority allows the consignee to offload. While offloading, it is expected that you have 3 categories of rice coming from the truck, from the ship. It means either because of humidity or water touch the rice, you will see that it will be, wet. Then we have what they call cake rice. The cake rice is when, because like I said, humidity, it will get wet rice, the sound rice, the sweat rice, and the cake rice. You separate it. It is where the Ministry of Commerce come out to say, look, okay, this one cannot be allowed on the market because it is not good for our consumption. Now, if that declaration is made, the consignee will consult the insurance company they are dealing with to say, okay, say this one cannot be sold. That discussion, the Ministry of Commerce has nothing to do with it. It is between the consignee and the insurance company they are dealing with. So this ship, Fuani brought a ship, and the ship had been at the port for almost 2 months. The ship was offloading when a cargo ship came, and then they asked them to go back into the sea. They are all loaded some number of bags. So I was surprised. People just jump, hold the rest at the port, and nothing dropped the insurance. The Ministry of Commerce not doing anything about it, and then it's rotting rice at the port. Rotting rice at the port does not mean the Ministry of Commerce just go there and take people's rights and destroy. Because whatever you do must be within the confines of law. You cannot just go there because you have power, start setting power, taking people's rights and destroying them. So the ship has completed the offloading. Now we have separated the sound rice. We have put aside the wet rice. We have put aside the cake rice, and we have put aside the sweat rice. And those categories, those that are not good for our consumption, we have put them together, and it is a little above 4,000 bags. Today, we are about to destroy them or to dispose of them at the Wentan. So this is done to dispel the rumors that people carry around this country, because people feel that everything about Liberia is all about.
He's the Inspector General of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Doug Cooper, there speaking. On that note, this is how we like to draw the curtains on this afternoon presentation of the program King's News Broom. But before we leave you, the stories we closely carry. The National Executive Committee of the Opposition Coalition for Democratic Change expelled Deputy Speaker Thomas P. Fallard from the party with immediate effect. Mangibi County Senator Nathaniel Mangill characterizes executive branch of government for backing majority bloc in the House of Representatives by the Attorney General Councillor Oswald Twed. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives Thomas P. Fallard welcomed his expulsion from the party, reaffirmed his unwavering commitment to values and principles that initially inspired him to help establish the CDC. And away from Liberia now, an 11-year-old Sierra Leonean girl has been rescued after clinching to an inner tube for 3 days in the stormy weather in the Mediterranean. Many thanks to all of our news reporters, correspondents, and contributors who helped making this edition of success. Semanjus brought you the news bulletin. Cornelius Johnson sat at controls and coordinated the sound. Aota Sankan, I presented. Thanks for watching and listening. Good afternoon.